Hello and welcome to, what is this, episode 4, I think. Match week 3 of the Isuzu, said it right, Ute A-League's download. If you don't know the results, here they are. I mean, you should know the results by now, but here they are on the screen, so you don't have to look at my face. Sydney with a really good win and a good game in Brisbane, 3-2. Auckland winning the Kiwi Classico. 2-0 in Wellington with some hilarious goalkeeping at the end. A goal to draw between Central Coast and Perth. Western Sydney Wanderers 3, Adelaide 4. And Melbourne victory 2-1 against MacArthur. Tonight, Western United playing Melbourne City at Amy Park. So we can't talk a lot about that game. It hasn't happened yet. But by the time you watch this, it might have happened. Because we're not live. We can't lie to you anymore. I'm Max Rushton, and this show has been so extraordinarily successful that both Thomas Sorensen and Archie Thompson have decided not to show up today. It is a public holiday in Melbourne because there's a horse race tomorrow. Doesn't make any sense to me either. And the thing, when you get great success, it's very hard to stay grounded. And I thought better of Thomas. I obviously thought Archie would go off the rails. But Sorensen, it is a surprise. But they're not here. But someone did say you could just get 2 blokes off the street to do it and the show would be exactly the same. And we've done exactly that. My only request was that they were both Macedonian. And they are. And that is a relief. And apparently they both used to play football as well. Naum Sekalovsky, welcome.
Maxi.
How are you?
Awesome, mate. Thanks for having us.
Batka, as I would say to my Macedonian brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. How good. Tomo's out bike riding in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. I think Archie's working on a portrait and where he rolling the sleeves up and doing the hard work.
He's still stuck in Sydney.
He's stuck in Sydney?
Trying to get back.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you played with him. Yes. You're not really allowed to talk until I've introduced you.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, that ruined all the rules of television.
Maxi.
Yeah,
but you're a maverick.
I'm not one for rules.
No, you're a maverick.
Maxi, to be fair, in true Balkan fashion,
yeah,
the Macedonians have taken over the show, and this is now the Preston Lions A-League show. So welcome.
Which is niche, but it's something that people have been crying out for years. Sasha Ognanovsky, if I pronounced that correctly.
Yes, correct.
I've done
Thanks,
a great
Max.
job. Do you know what? I already feel the chemistry in this room is better than normal.
It wouldn't be hard.
No, it isn't.
No,
they are two
pretty
planks.
low base.
Thompson and Sorensen, it's like 2 planks of wood. Honestly, working with them is a nightmare.
I can't speak for Tomo, but Archie, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, okay.
He's hard work, isn't he?
Yeah.
And off
We're
air.
going to come for him today.
Off air. Oh, what a diva. I can't believe his demands are just, it's off the scale. Now, there might be some young people who don't know that you both played football. So we have some footage of you playing football. Now we went through all the archives, and all we could find is you just repeatedly kicking one man. And so we have that footage. Could you talk us through what's happening here? Is this? Would you say, does this sum up your career? Is this an accurate reflection of your footballing career?
I think the best way to answer that is just to look to my left.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, look, sometimes you get frustrated, Maxi. For me, that was something that happened on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But as we do in this great game,
Yeah.
we play on and we move forward. So, it's just part of the game.
Okay. Did you stay friends with that chap?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's
Always
good.
make sure they're okay, shake hands,
Yeah.
and then we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you play those games and people are literally punching you in the ribs all game, and then at the end they go, "Good battle, mate," and you go, "No, that was just really unpleasant." Actually, Sasha, you 2010 Asian Footballer of the Year. You won the Champions League there as well. 22 Socceroos caps. And you scored on Friday night against Ronaldinho, didn't you?
Well, he wasn't in goals though.
No, but I mean, he could have been.
Yeah, he could have been.
Done a better
He
job
could
than
be
who
anyway.
was in goal. Do you know?
I don't know.
You don't know?
But he come out flapping.
Yeah.
Gave
What a
me an
big
easy
moment. Did it take you back to the glory years?
Not really, but it was good fun
Yeah.
to play. Yeah, to play. The first time I actually been out to the ground there at Combank Stadium, so that was amazing ground. Amazing
Great
setup there.
Great setup.
Fantastic.
And how was Ronaldinho? Is he now? And I don't know the broadcasting rules. Is he now shite?
No,
Oh, he's still good.
no, he's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's doing the elasticos and all that sort of stuff. We weren't allowed to tackle him or anything, but
Was that in the contract?
uh,
Do you know? I did wonder.
it was loosely. written
I
down
did
the
wonder
line. Yeah.
because I was hosting the project the other day, and I thought, oh, that's on 10. This is on 10. So I said, look, I am available. Obviously, nobody called, but I thought, do you know what? I would just, and I'm not a dirty player, but I would stay close to Ronaldinho.
Go through him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you weren't allowed?
No.
Did you have to sign an NDA?
No, we didn't. But we just sort of said, nothing stupid.
We do
and
have
all those things were pointed at me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I missed the meeting, so.
We do have
Conveniently.
We do have a clip of you in the glory days of being like just a terrible sport, I would say, with some guy who had cramp. Can you talk us through this? And your goalkeeper's trying to help out the opposition because ultimately, you know, sport brings people together, and it's about humanity, and it's about, you know, it's about being bigger than just your own team, isn't it?
Yeah. Not when you're a fierce competitor,
A competitive beast.
and giving anyone help from the opposition doesn't make sense in my brain. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, Maxi,
I don't really like it.
For me, he hasn't looked after himself pre-game.
Right.
He hasn't
100%.
hydrated,
Yeah.
and he hasn't taken his magnesium.
Yes.
So I'm backing Direttore, our football director from Preston Lions, all day, Maxi.
So for the rest of the show, it's Directore and back.
Bang.
Okay.
Bang.
Here we go. Let's start with the first ever New Zealand derby, El Kiwi Classico, Wellington Phoenix 0, Auckland 2. I mean, I don't think, Sasha, Auckland FC could have asked for a better start, right? 3 wins from 3. They've had 2 games where they've won it in the last minute, basically. You know, if you want to sort of start a team, because if it starts flat, it could all be a bit like, oh, how great is this? But this has been perfect.
Oh, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. They've won, obviously, the first 2. They've played at home, and then they've gone over to Wellington, a short trip. That'll be the shortest trip.
Shortest trip, yep.
And got a result there. So Brimmer with a brace, gifted. The first one was gifted.
Oluwayemi,
Yes.
absolute brain fade. Yeah. You feel for him, but 26,000, what an occasion for the country and the A-League. And he just has an absolute Barry Crocker.
Yeah.
Doesn't he, Maxi?
He does. I don't know. I mean, the thing is, right, there was so little going on that the director was actually just showing us a really lovely drone shot of the stadium, wasn't it? And then it cut back around, what's going on here?
They both lost focus at the same time.
They did.
What a coincidence. But, I mean, and we'll talk to Sasha. We'll go through the games, or the blocker games for this round. And sometimes you just want to line the ball up, Lufthansa, runway 3, Tullamarine Airport, and get rid of the thing. This overplaying sometimes just, it's...
Well, it cost him dearly, didn't
yeah,
it?
well, it's
Played it straight to him. Like, there were 2 Auckland players there. He could have chose anyone.
Yeah. What you're
With a
saying...
yellow shirt on.
Yeah, what you're saying is it was the wrong place to kick the ball.
Wrong place to kick the ball, exactly, yeah. No good at all.
But the overplaying in general, Direttore.
Yeah, particularly in the 89th minute, why you would risk
no risk.
anything like that is a little bit different.
But I suppose that is, that's what you're told to do, right? That's changing
coach's directive,
football.
yeah, a lot of the time,
Correct. And that's where the game's changed. And like I said, I think there's been an emphasis on overplaying in that defensive third. But why not just, like I said, launch it, right? Especially in the 89th minute, and it becomes a different game. And that's one example out of probably 3 or 4 this week in the A-League, not to mention what happened in the EPL, overnight or last week. So it's becoming a pattern.
Now, I'm presuming that neither of you have ever made a mistake on a football pitch. But
Very rare.
Very rare.
Very rare.
Especially in the last minute of a game that's cost you. Yeah. But what does that feel like?
Oh, it's death.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like hole in the ground, go away.
Yeah,
Like
kicking the pills.
Yeah. No good. No good. But look,
you feel for him.
Yeah, you feel for him, but they're forced somewhat by the coaches to play that way. And goalkeepers in general are goalkeepers for a reason, because they weren't good outfield players.
Right.
I don't think anyone really chooses, I want to be a goalkeeper and jump around at training 4,000 times for one save in the game. Yeah. But now we're expecting goalkeepers to play, like Hazard, or playing out the back and all this stuff, and it's not in their DNA really. So it's something
changed, right? Goalkeeping has changed. So the ones who can do it are actually so essential to the way you play, right? Because it's like having an extra man.
Precisely, isn't it? So they become that sweeper type player, and that means you can push a player up the field. But sometimes they're not as gifted and they don't make the right decisions. As we saw.
Yep, the modern day Baresi's.
Yes.
But I don't know if a lot of this generation would know who Baresi is. I don't know. What do we think?
I think if you don't know who Franco Baresi is, go and watch a YouTube
Sound advice.
bit of Baresi. And if you don't want to do that, we don't want you to watch.
Fair play.
There are some players you just got to know. I suppose the key is that the manager says it's not your fault. This is how I want you to play.
Yeah, and that's
don't
fine.
worry
And
about it.
that's fine, but it's still a results-based game. So
Of course.
But yeah,
he might still lose his job if he keeps pushing up to that.
Yeah. Well, let's not get anyone
Narrative.
sacked, right now. We don't want him to
No,
lose.
no.
3 rounds in?
It's only
Too
10
early?
minutes. 10
Early
minutes
doors.
into your show. It could have been so different, right? That Ishigay chance is huge, isn't it, for Wellington? And then it's a totally different story.
spewing, absolutely
Yeah.
spewing for him. It's almost the best defensive clearance you've ever seen. Impossible to miss, right? He's hit it down and
Barbarouses had a couple as well.
Barbarouses had a couple
Yeah, one straight
there.
at the keeper.
Yeah,
didn't he?
one straight at the keeper. That either side, that's a goal. So
But massive opportunity.
they had their chances. Auckland had their chances early as well.
Yep.
In that one, but in the end, Brimmer.
Brimmer, the Aussie Aussie wins
boy,
wins the NZ
He
derby.
done well.
26,252. There's a regular season record for Wellington. And you can't create rivalries, right? I know they did a funny thing with the advertising hoarding. They took the W away from Wellington. We've taken the win and all that. But it feels like this rivalry could be great. You don't want to just instantly say, "Oh, look," because I think everybody wants one. You want to have somebody to hate, right? That is a really big part of being a football fan. It's tribal, and now they've really got it. And over the years, it'll be interesting to see how this develops.
Well, I think it's set up now, right? After that first game, it really lays the foundation for the next 5 to 10 years, and for the game to grow, throughout that country, and really to give back to us in Australia, right? For something to replicate really within our derbies. So, no, it was awesome. Really, really awesome to watch, and I mean, it was quite intense. I enjoyed the build-up, all the pre-match stuff, great. And then the game had a bit about it as well. I think there was a tackle initially in the first 2 minutes. I'm just trying to think. I had it on the notes. Verstrade on Ishige. Wowee. He did the old Sikolovsky that we saw earlier.
Yeah.
Which is good. You don't mind a little bit of that, Nigel. That means you want to win, Maxi.
Batgav's notes, Directore.
Yeah, I do.
Have you got notes too? I just couldn't
do
see
have
it.
notes. I do have notes.
Oh, I'm proud of you. I'm
Yeah,
proud of
yeah,
you, Director.
yeah, thank you.
Let's go to that. Let's go to the Brisbane Roar Sydney FC game. This was a really good game. It's how you want a 3-2 to go, Sasha, don't you? You
Yes.
want 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. That's exactly how it should be.
Great. The only I played in a few of these Queensland, New South Wales ones, and usually the stadium was a lot fuller. So that was one thing that I sort of said, geez, that's sort of dropped off. But hopefully with more games like this,
Like that, yeah.
we get that that passion back from the Queenslanders and the Sydney siders coming up and making that derby great again, because I remember playing Suncorp. There was 50,000
Wow.
for those games, and it was they were rock and roll.
We don't want to use the copy paste theory, but the state of origin concept
No, it's,
that game can have.
but it did. That's how it was always built. As a state of origin
and once
game.
upon a time when you were there, I remember them games were huge.
Yeah, we played them. We played them in finals there. We played them in home and away games, and the stadium was always full. And that's something that I think needs to come back up there for that one for Brisbane. Brisbane hasn't been where it should be for a while now, and they need to sort of get up there. But games like this, although the result didn't go Brisbane's way, games like this sort of get the blood pumping again, and get people back there to want to watch.
And who's better, people from New South Wales or Queensland?
Oof. I'm staying away from this one, Maxi. I'll let Director.
It's not a fair question. Some of the goals were great in this. Like Patrick Kamala, who looks like a really, really good footballer. Right, I haven't seen a lot of these guys, and he looks really good. and I love a dummy, probably more than anything else in
how
football.
good. How
Some
good.
things I love in football. I love chesting it to another player. It's a beautiful thing.
Speaking of chess,
Yeah.
you got a couple
Well,
to the left of you. Holy
really,
mackerel.
it is
Have a
really.
look at these bad boys.
It's extraordinary.
Stewie Young. Sorry, I'm going to sidetrack here, Matt.
Please do.
Stewie Young. I played with a lad from Hull.
Right.
City.
Right, yeah.
And he always used to say, Normski, you got the highest nipples in the air league. Because I got these really high nipples.
Do you have high nipples?
Yeah, and
Wow.
the boys used to just take the P155 out of me in the showers. But anyway, let's
Are they
get...
like disproportionately high, or are they just on the high? Because most people's are in the same sort of spot.
I'm not too
Are you
sure.
gonna give him a?
No, I don't think you need to.
sneak- No, no.
That's for the.
Okay.
We have an OnlyFans page,
Okay,
but we
okay,
haven't
all right,
started it yet. In
Hashtag-
earnest.
Hashtag Batka.
Batka OF.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
right.
very good.
The high-nippled Batka. Yeah.
But anyway, back to the game.
The dummy.
Klamala, really, really lively.
Yeah.
Burjo, plenty of ball time. For me, I thought Sydney controlled that first half. And then as the game developed, it really started to open up. Queensland on the slingshot, but like you said, love a dummy.
So nice. It's just the awareness of it is just great, and it sets up that goal brilliantly. I was pleased to see Thomas Waddingham get on the score sheet. We talked about him a lot in the preview, and like comparisons to Viduka, which are clearly not fair.
Ooh,
Are they?
boy, oh
You
boy.
know? You can't compare anywhere.
No. Big shoes to fill. But
Dukes.
if they're comparing him, then he's got some work to do. But
But scored one,
It's
set
always
one up.
good. Always good to be referenced in the same.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
same sentence as one of the all-time Aussie greats. So yeah.
And I'm going to compare Leo Sainer to R9 Ronaldo now, because I think he reinvented the toe punt in 02.
That was a finish, wasn't it?
Wasn't it? Because if you take it that
That
fast,
was a Romario special.
was.
that one. Yeah, Romario.
You
was
think
the toe
Romario
poke,
more
yeah.
than okay?
Yeah,
maybe you're
yeah,
right. And
Romario
I
was
think
the
it's
one.
funny that footballers don't do it more often.
It catches goalkeepers off guard. You don't need the leg to go all the way back. It just comes quickly off the foot. Goalkeeper didn't know what was going on there in that one.
And for me, it's the lead-up play. To use another Macedonian phrase, dupli pass. You get that 1-2 combination, it just tears the defence apart, and then the spitz at the end, the toe punt, too easy.
Yeah.
Too
Are
easy.
you saying Macedonia invented the 1-2? I'm not. I think that's a stretch.
Look, they did refer to the Balkans as the Brazil of Europe.
Right, okay.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
So our footballing school is quite strong, Maxi.
Yeah.
Although it's probably lost its polish over the last decade. But still, I think Croatia and Serbia are producing a lot of good footballers. So, per capita.
That wasn't the question I asked.
No, well.
Back, but it was a good answer. You
We'll
sidestepped
claim it.
You'll claim it.
We'll claim
the
it.
1-2 invented
Why
by
not?
Macedonia.
That's
Who knew?
Ask it again,
Yeah.
and I'll give you the incorrect answer. How does that sound?
I'm looking at your eyes, but I can only see your nipples just above them. We need to mention Raphael
1-0.
Strike because we want to be big in Indonesia, and he has 28 billion
yes.
followers in Indonesia.
The Ardo Den
20
Haag youth. Yeah. Yep. The Struik.
Strike, yeah. Raphael Strike.
Yeah.
Did one of you played in Indonesia?
I did.
Yeah.
My last pro year out in Indo with my very well respected chef, Slava Radovsky. But I mean, this young kid, he's a Dutch-Indonesian hybrid. I played with Irfan Bakhtim, actually, who is the David Beckham of Indonesian football, or was once upon a time. So I guess for Struik, that's the shoes he can step into, essentially, if he kickstarts his career here in the A-League with Brizzy. And then I think there's an opportunity of him being picked in the squad for the upcoming game versus the Socceroos. So, I mean, football in Indonesia for a second-tier Asian country was huge. Playing in front of 30, 40,000 week in, week out. So he's going to be massive news there. And hopefully he makes this show massive news there
Absolutely,
as well.
and then we'll be doing live shows
Into Indonesia.
in Indonesia. Yeah,
In
that's-
Indonesia.
Yeah. That's the
Jakarta.
plan. Yeah,
Jakarta.
we've got we'll have a residency in Jakarta Stadium. I don't know the exact name of it yet because we're ironing
Well,
out the
you're
details.
working-
We're ironing
We're
out.
fleshing it out, Maxi.
We're dotting the I's and crossing the
We're
T's of the
fleshing it
contract.
out.
But you both are very welcome, of course. We haven't mentioned Jaden Kucharski's winning goal, 90th minute, thunderbolt.
Beautiful finish.
Yeah.
Beautiful finish across the goalkeeper.
And
Gets the ball.
He starts the play, big man. Director, he starts it just before halfway. So he sets it up. He absolutely Usain bolts it about a 60, 70-yard dash and then gets on the end of it. So
We were speaking about the game, and we'll get to the game after. We were speaking about the football in general and those running forward. We seem to want to pass the ball back and sideways, and that. Anytime we get any joy in the game is when we're running forward, and Kucharski done it brilliantly. He started the play, got himself forward and got himself into a position to have a shot on goal and scores the winner for Sydney.
Speaking of Usain Bolt, when he came to, was it Central Coast? And I remember someone saying he had a first touch like a trampoline, which is just one of my favourites.
Bang.
That
little
is
short back and sides, Maxi. For old Hussein.
That is, I mean, it wasn't me who
Hopefully you're watching Bolty.
I mean, it wasn't me who said it, but that is rough, isn't it? It's just that description, the first touch like a trampoline, is just so good. Right, Western Sydney Wanderers 3, Adelaide 4. Now, we don't want to spend the whole time talking about Tristan Vidakovic. But he didn't have a great day.
No.
In fact, I think he may have done better for all four. And that is harsh because his biggest mistakes came early. But even
I think
still,
that was done. Once that first mistake, bang, bounces off.
Yeah.
I think it goes through his hands and hits him in the face.
Oh.
I've watched it a lot of times. I think it goes through his hands and hits him in the face. And then I was like, why didn't he use his hands? And then I saw the second goal, and I was like, well, that's probably why he didn't use his hands.
Because he probably wanted to head the ball out. Yeah, but horrible night for him. Stepping in. Obviously, Lawrence Thomas is out, and that first minute, and then he didn't recover. He just didn't recover at all from that first mistake.
No.
And then he's cost his team the game because all savable. everything that Adelaide put in the back of the net was very, very savable. So he's probably cost them the game on their their 10th year Asian Champions League celebration.
Yeah, absolutely. Big night for the club, and that I think it was Clough crosses that one in for the second, and I mean. You don't want to be harsh on the kid. He was wearing green, but he almost turns into Gumby, right? and he goes to punch it out, and you get the wet lettuce leaf. Just a little bit of a flop. But that's what happens. You get that first error, right? And then that confidence probably dips. And we don't want to sit here and rip into the lad, but it's hard. Being a footballer is hard.
Yeah.
Right? And it comes with responsibility. So I think it's Borrello mentioned post-game, and he spoke really well, and he grew into the game as well, which was great for Western Sydney, but probably too little, too late. But he said, that they were going to get around Vidakovic and try pick him up, and that it was a team effort. And I really, really rate that, really respect it, because we all make mistakes as footballers, and no doubt that the young kid at that point would want to dig a hole and bury his head. But his captain was there at the end of the game. And you know what? He'll turn around. He'll go, back to the drawing board, I guess, and work on their mistakes. And he'll be better for it.
But that's not his level. So obviously, if you're playing, A-League professional football, that's not the level of the goalkeeper. So he just had a bad night.
Yeah,
that's it.
And you're good enough, right?
You're good enough.
You're going to make those
train.
saves.
You train for all those moments. He's caught a million balls in his career. So that's not the point. It's how he recovers.
Yeah.
It's how he recovers from the setback. So it's whether they're going to throw him under the bus or going to go, don't worry about it. Let's get on. Forget it. It's in the past. You can't change anything. But it's the only thing that I'd say isn't really good for him is that first mistake probably affected the next three.
Sure.
And as a professional footballer, you need to be able to say, okay, I've made that first one. That's it. It's behind me. I'm done.
Yeah.
And now I know my job, and I concentrate on that, and not let that first mistake affect the rest of the game because you can cost your team.
And it is harder for goalkeepers, right? Because if it's a centre forward and you miss an open goal, it just feels different. It's just not the same, And you have to have the same mentality. Sure, you have to go. That chance has gone. Forget it. And the best players are those ones. You see it with Haaland, misses absolute sitters, but that means nothing To more like Cole Palmer, who's like whatever, and then just does something brilliant. And
You can't change the past, but you can affect the future, and that's
poignant.
the only one.
that is beautiful.
that
Is that Darth Vader? Who
That's
said that
very,
first?
very good. That is Preston Football Academy 101.
Sasha Oglenovsky just thought of that in his head.
That's
not
not
Darth
bad.
Vader.
We've launched
It was either Jean-Paul Sartre, it was Foucault, or Darth Vader. That is, you can't change the past.
or D, all the above, Maxi.
Yeah. A question, I guess, is how much of it is his manager and his teammates getting around him, and how much is just you just have to have that mentality that lots of people don't have, because to be an elite sports person,
Mentality wins
It's-
always over talent, over anything. So if you don't have the right mentality, you'll never make it to thrive under those pressure situations. Because when you're under pressure, that's when your true character comes out, and we'll see in the next couple of weeks what Vidakovic's character is all about, I guess.
10 years, like you say, since they won the Asian Champions League. You've done that. What's it like? I haven't done it. Norm, you done it?
No.
It's I was fortunate enough. We made 2 finals. I made one with Adelaide, and that was surreal as well. We were the first Aussie team to make a final. We got smacked over 2 legs by Gumba, who were a super team. But you just sort of get on this wave where you start your qualifying rounds and start playing them, and you go, okay, yeah, we've beaten these guys, we've knocked these guys off, and you just start building this confidence within your team, and you're like, okay, we can win this, we can go, and it's just you ride this wave.
Momentum.
Yeah, unfortunately, the first final I made, I was riding the wave and the great white come underneath and took us out. But the second one with Songnam, we were really good team within Asia, and
They would have loved you up there, big man. Directore.
yeah, we had a bit of fun out there. There was
Chiseled, 6'3", GQ.
Very low, very low riding nipples.
Very low riding.
no nipples are proportionally placed.
okay.
Not like Butker's on his cheekbones. We felt like we were invincible.
Yeah.
Like we felt we could play against anyone and win. So that was a different feeling. We sort of went into the final, Adelaide, as underdogs for the final against Zobahan. We went in there favourites and we won quite comfortably in the end. It was 3-1 or something like that. So, and then the feeling, obviously, you're the best team in Asia and all the everything that goes on. It's an awesome feeling. That was an amazing year for me. After that, I debuted for the Socceroos at the tender age of 31.
The former Chippy.
The former Chippy, yes.
Didn't Harps nail that one?
Amazing. I can imagine, obviously, Western Sydney Wanderers that to make it and to beat who they beat in the final, Al Hilal, who are a super powerful club in the Middle East and throughout Asia. To do that on their home soil over there in Saudi was amazing. It was amazing for Australian football, amazing for Popovic, amazing for all the players that played in that team. So the celebration obviously didn't go to plan the other night, but
unfortunately,
what a night for Australian football and for that club.
It's always very sort of welling up, because I didn't realise
shedding a
when
tear.
I got here, Director A, he's got so much range. There's the sort of hard man, but now we see the sensitive side. What is this guy? This guy's got everything.
We're only halfway through this show.
I know. That's a good point. We should get on with it.
Yeah, we should,
shouldn't we?
We should push on.
We've all got things to do. Melbourne victory 2, MacArthur 1 at Amy Park. It's on Sunday afternoon. Sashi, you were there. How was it?
Good. I don't know if it was set up by Mill and the gang at MacArthur to sort of hit victory on the counter, but it was quite effective in the first half. They had 2 or 3 good chances to score, which they didn't take, unfortunately. Just that little bit of polish.
Yeah.
Little bit of polish in the
final third.
In the final third. And then the second half, all the goals came along. Jermaine scored a lovely header.
Yep.
That's some good work. Penalty, a little bit controversial. I watched the presser.
I can't understand that rule.
Yeah, I watched the presser with Mille after the game, and confusion. You know, 1 week it's given, the next week it's not.
So I tell you my law change. I'm getting sidetracked here.
Here we
This
go.
is good.
Here
This
we
is
go.
good. This is good. Okay. You know, so denying a goal scoring opportunity, right? And it's a red card. So if I go through and it's in the centre circle, you kick me over like you did that guy earlier in the show.
That was Jonas Sully.
And you get a straight red. Okay. So now it's 11v10 and we've got a free kick there. Any denial of a goal scoring opportunity is a penalty, but no red card.
Oh, wow.
So I'm clean through, but not in the box. You drag me down. It's a penalty, but you stay on the pitch.
Yeah, that's like MLS when they're doing those
No, it's not.
penalties
No,
running
it's
into
not
the
like
box.
that.
No,
You haven't
I
thought
don't
about it.
actually.
You haven't thought about it, Sash. You've gone straight in without thinking.
I don't-
Director.
I don't-
Director.
I don't like
Director,
it.
have a thought.
There is a potential coup here.
traditionalist.
Yeah.
There's a potential coup, Matthew. Just
As I was saying, this game's all about Reno Piscopo. He had a
Yes.
brilliant game, didn't he?
He played really well. He played really well. I like his composure. He seems to never panic with the ball at his feet. 2, 3. There were situations where he's got two men around him, and he's calm. He's making the right decisions.
really good under pressure.
Really good under pressure, and that's something that you don't see much.
It's quite rare.
You don't see much that calm composure on the ball, and when you sort of see it, it really, really stands out. And he looked a little bit better than everyone else yesterday, just because he seemed to have a bit more time on the ball, and then that goal that he scored.
Oh, the finish
as well.
was top shelf.
Yeah.
As my old coach would say, Euro goal.
Euro goal.
Euro goal. Euro goal.
Ever a goal.
Euro goal.
All right.
Yeah, Euro goal.
an
Hop, hop,
education.
Euro goal. Suck over the top.
Yeah.
And then just keeper has to pick it out of the net and off you go.
Keeper was a little bit forward for me.
He was a little bit,
Yeah.
to be fair.
Took a step forward. I don't think he was expecting it.
Yeah, unexpected.
Because he was running at pace. He didn't take his time to sort of set up the shot. He just sort of pulled the trigger. Probably caught him a little bit
Off guard.
unawares.
Yeah, slightly off guard.
But again, you still got to hit the target. You still got to hit the back of the onion bag,
Yeah.
as Butko would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And a tough one for MacArthur and Millen and the boys. I think last 2 weeks they've had the 1-0 up, and then they've lost them games, but they'll regroup.
They're okay. They got enough quality there to their front third and your Holmans and your Germains
And a young side as well.
Yeah,
Director.
so they'll be okay. They set up well. They're coached well. So I think they won't. They'll be there or thereabouts.
Yep.
Central Coast 0, Perth 0. Not a classic.
No.
I'm going to put it out there.
No.
It was not.
That's Butka's old team. They're in not in a good space at the moment.
Why is that?
Why?
Butka's not
Look,
there.
Yeah,
That's one.
I'm not there. Look, it's probably a transition period, Maxi, for my ex-club. And
They've been transitioning for a while now.
yeah, they have been transitioning for a while. Well, I think there's a few elements that create success at a football club. And if I'm looking at the two key football periods in Australia, you obviously had the NSL and then the A-League with the 1.5 year hiatus in between. In the NSL, Perth Glory were the blueprint, and I think was the club that was used to model what an A-League club should look like. And then all of a sudden, every other club sort of fast-tracked, and we landed in the A-League. So that's one point. Second point, I think there was a transition in ownership at the time. So Tana was there, locally a town hero, big on community as well. And then Sage stepped in. Look, two different types of characters, and maybe lost their identity along that period. Even the first 6 years I was there, I know, Davey was there. So I'm hoping now with the new takeover and
Ross Peligra.
correct, the Peligra group. I think there's a couple of ex-Socceroos boys there. Bresh is involved. One of my ex-neighbours, Vinny Grella. I'm hoping now that these guys are there, they understand that, all right, you have to get the footballing side right. You have to get the commercial and operational side right. But there's also that community component as well. Now, Perth, you need that community behind you every step of the way.
Well, I look at what Central Coast.
Perfect.
So Central Coast are down in the doldrums for a while.
Perfect example.
And they built up their academy. They built up, they were down the bottom on the ladder for a while. And they blooded a lot of youngsters during that period
From the coast.
And now, the last 2-3 years they've been absolutely amazing. So, Central Coast, probably a smaller club than Perth Glory could potentially be. I mean, Perth's got one team, one town.
Yeah, that's a big catchment area.
Big
Massive.
catchment area.
Massive.
A lot of expats there who love football from your island.
neck of the woods.
From your island.
There are too many English people in Australia, aren't there?
There are.
You know?
There are.
Just wherever you
There
go.
are.
A lot of Macedonians in Perth as well, Maxi.
Ah,
Yeah,
well,
we
now,
can't forget
now
about
you're
them.
talking.
Well, they were playing
My
out of
new
Stirling,
family.
Macedonia as
Yeah,
well
yeah.
for a while there. So, but again,
The opportunities there.
the opportunities there. There's enough young talent from Perth that you could bring in, and people see it. Like people say, oh, that's a local boy. Let's go and watch. It's different. You can bring in whoever you want, but when people have a connection to the kids that are running out on the park, it's different, and they'll go and watch, and they'll put up with the mistakes. And if you're paying somebody big money,
Sure.
and they're making those same mistakes, I'm not going to go watch you.
Yeah, it's such a hard balance, isn't it?
It is.
This is for every football club in
Everywhere in
every
the
country,
world, yes.
everywhere in the world.
Yes,
That's
yes.
trying to do everything, trying to get. You try and get everything right off the pitch, and then suddenly the results don't go well. And you've got a manager who understands, who wants to bring everyone in.
Yeah.
But then if you lose 5 in a row, you're like, oh,
You're gone.
What do we do? And patience matters.
Absolutely.
But patience with the right people, and you don't know if you have the right people, and then you give them 5 years and they're not the right people. It is an
it's-
impossible
it's-
thing that
it's hard because
everyone
burn
is
through
fighting
time.
for.
Yeah, you can burn through time, you burn through money, burn through patience. Supporters, staff, the whole lot. So it's a hard gig. Couple of points that I did like about the game.
Oh,
was,
yes, please.
18-year-old boy, Lisolewski, for Perth Glory, played a full 90.
Full 90.
Perra Cullen, the goalkeeper, Central Coast, 18-year-old boy as well. I think that's great. I think that's what we need to be doing here. Not just recycling the same old names. And I think the trend that I'm seeing in the A-League, where young players within their academies, and this is all the evolution of the clubs having their own academies. 'Cause for the first 10 years, I don't think
correct.
I don't
First
think
decade,
there
didn't
wasn't
exist.
An academy, so they're
Didn't
just
exist.
finding players, from left field or wherever it may have been. So now they're getting through the academies. Alba Victory, Valupile, Valadon, all these boys.
Yeah.
So the city's got a number of them that they've sold and whatnot. So Wanderers the same. So we're having a look at now, the sort of the fruits of the hard work.
This
that-
is the
that the
byproduct.
academies are, and that we're getting some quality youngsters who are getting game time now. Not just there involved in training. They're actually getting game time, playing 90 minutes and doing the right things. So I think hat off to all the coaches on that.
Well said, Director. West United, Melbourne City tonight. How do you see it? Norm?
Poof. This could go anyway, really. Flip a coin. But I guess both sides are fishing for a result. Western drew last week.
And the week before.
And the week before. There you
Couple
go.
of draws.
Thanks. I've got my statistician here.
No worries.
Director to the
Always
left.
there to help, but
And then obviously City, coming out of that derby. So both clubs, I'm sure, going to be pushing hard to get the 3 points.
Get
But
off the fence, Norm.
We'll see.
Be
Look,
a true
I-
Macedonian. Tell us what's going to happen.
I reckon Western might get up here for this
Okay.
one. I don't know what Director thinks, but
I'm against you on this one. I think having a look at City's squad and the names within that squad, I think there's too much quality there for them not to beat Western. I don't think Western are anywhere near it.
Quickly, the Socceroos squad's going to be picked for the games against Saudi Arabia and Bahrain. Anyone in the A-League that you guys have seen? Just give us a couple of names. This has been dragging on for hours now. So,
Piscopo for me, his composure and that. I'd bring him into the squad, not necessarily to play, just to get a feel of what it means to be involved and the culture that I'm sure Tony Popovic is instilling in the team at the moment.
For me, I know it's probably a little bit too early, but Kozewski debuts, BOG, probably not someone that comes in this round, but for the same reasons that Sash just said, start getting some of these young guys into this environment so they can experience what it looks like at that level. And then, maybe Guerrier from the ones that were in the squad last week has shown some quality over the last fortnight.
Before we go, the Unite round is coming up November the 22nd to the 24th in Sydney. All the teams are turning up and playing games, men's and women's as well. It's 3 days, 12 games. And also a Ninja Pass. You've still got your chance to get a Ninja Pass. 3 weeks remaining of that is a Ninja A-League Women's Pass. We'll get you into the first 4 rounds for free. Free stuff is always good. But that'll do for today. I feel like we've done enough. I think it was perfect.
Thank you, Max.
I've had a nice time. It's been a great pleasure. It's the most time I've spent with any Macedonians. And it's been a joy.
Feelings mutual. Let's do this again.
See you next week. Thompson and Sorensen sacked because it's hard. Broadcasting at this level is difficult. And if you don't perform, if you don't deliver, if you don't turn up, then you lose your job. So Archie Thompson, Tom and Sorensen, it was nice to work with you for 2 weeks, but I will never see you again. See you next week.